Every single sales call your team makes, it's a potential gold mine of data. But let's be honest, for most managers, that gold is buried under a mountain of work. So today, we're going to dive into how AI is finally giving us the tools to unearth those insights almost instantly.
Okay, to really get a grip on the scale of this problem, just look at this number. 200. That's how many calls one rep can churn through in a single day. We're not just talking about data here, this is a full-on tidal wave.
And that, of course, leads to the big question for any sales leader out there. When you're facing that kind of volume, how in the world do you find those exact moments? The specific words, the missed opportunities that are going to actually help your team get better.
So, let's just call this what it is, right? It's the daily call deluge. And this is exactly where that old-school, manual approach to coaching just completely falls apart.
This really gets to the heart of the dilemma that pretty much every sales manager is dealing with. On one hand, your goal is to make sure every call has quality, meets compliance, and that you're coaching effectively. But the reality? You're just drowning in manual call reviews.
So, this whole manual process, it's got some serious cracks in the foundation. Let's break down exactly why sitting there listening to calls one by one just doesn't cut it anymore.
Okay, first up, you've got these huge coaching gaps. Think about it. A rep messes up a pricing question on a Monday morning call. By the time their manager maybe gets around to listening to that specific call on Wednesday, that moment is gone. It's ancient history. The feedback just isn't immediate, and it's definitely not actionable enough to help them on their very next call.
And the second problem? Well, it's just basic human nature, isn't it? Listening to calls manually is totally subjective. You might have one manager who's really focused on tone, while another is a stickler for script adherence. What you end up with is super inconsistent feedback, and that leads to really uneven development across the whole team.
And then there's the third crack in the system. You just can't catch everything. It's impossible. I mean, with hundreds and hundreds of calls coming in, there's no way a person can spot every single customer objection, every potential compliance risk, or every missed chance to upsell. So, all these valuable insights, they're just slipping right through the cracks every single day.
And finally, you hit a wall. A hard wall. As your sales team gets bigger, that manual QA process, it just can't keep up. No way. It becomes this major bottleneck that's actually holding your organization back from scaling the way it should.
Okay, but what if? What if you could analyze every single one of those 200 daily calls? Instantly, objectively. This is where we pivot. We're moving from the problem to the solution. So let's talk about the AI coach.
So what exactly is this AI coach we're talking about? Well, think of it as a system that does what a human just can't possibly do. It automatically listens in, transcribes, and analyzes 100% of your calls. Then it scores them against your specific goals and, this is the key part, delivers that feedback in real time.
So think of it like this. The platform basically patches up every single one of those cracks we just talked about. Instead of a random sample, you get 100% call analysis. You can score reps against your own custom KPI rubrics. The system automatically flags things like objections, compliance gaps, and missed opportunities. And on top of that, it pushes out real-time alerts and daily summaries with dashboards for both the reps and the managers.
All right, so that's the what. Now let's get into the how. Let's take a look under the hood and see how a regular old phone call gets turned into this incredibly powerful coaching asset.
It's actually a pretty straightforward four-step loop. Okay, so first, the AI transcribes and analyzes the call. Step 2, it scores the call against all your KPIs and compliance rules. Then, boom, step 3, the rep gets instant coaching right away. And at the same time, step 4, managers get alerts for the important stuff and can see the big picture on their dashboards. It's simple, it's fast, and it is seriously powerful.
Now, for any of you who are interested in what's powering all this, it's built on a really solid enterprise-grade stack. The AI and analysis layer, that's running on Elasticsearch using RAG. The workflow automation that ties everything together is handled by N8. All those great-looking dashboards and data visualizations, that's Google Looker. And to make sure it can process a massive number of calls without even blinking, it uses BullMQ for its queues. It's built to scale.
Okay, so the tech is cool for sure. But what really matters are the results, right? So let's shift gears for this last section and talk about the actual impact. How does all this insight translate into real, tangible outcomes for the business?
This quote really nails it. The whole point isn't just to listen to more calls. It's about turning every single conversation into a genuine opportunity to grow revenue and tighten up compliance.
And wow, this chart right here just shows the night and day difference. Even a fantastic, hardworking manager might only get to manually review, maybe 5% of their team's calls? The AI platform gives you 100% coverage, every single call. That's not just an improvement, that is a complete transformation of your visibility into what's happening on the ground.
So when you put it all together, what are the key results? Well, you get consistent quality because every call is scored the same way automatically. You get truly targeted coaching because the feedback is driven by data, not just a gut feeling. You get massive efficiency. We're talking 100 to 200 calls analyzed daily with zero manual work. And you get those real-time alerts, so nothing critical ever slips by.
But here's the most crucial point, and I really want this to land. This technology isn't about replacing managers, not at all. It's about elevating them. It frees them up from that soul-crushing, mind-numbing task of manual review, so they can actually spend their time doing what they do best, being strategic coaches, mentoring their people, and truly leading their teams.
So, we'll leave you with this one last question to think about. If you could suddenly have perfect visibility, if you could analyze 100% of your team's conversations, what amazing opportunities do you think are hiding there, right now, in plain sight?